This is the Financial Beat, helping you hit all the right notes in your financial plan. So sit back as we strike up the band. The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler starts now.
Welcome to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, VP and Chief Investment Officer at Regari Financial. Hope you're having a good day today here in Southern California. Appreciate your being with us on the show today, and we're going to talk about getting you to and through retirement in the most efficient way possible. My name is Ron Stutz. I get a chance to hang out with Logan for a while here, and I'll tell you how you can get in touch for a one-on-one conversation with Logan in just a second. But Logan, I understand you've had quite a busy week, and it's great that you have decided to come back to the radio show, and we're going to have a little fun here today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back and looking forward to it. I had last week off, was actually out at an advisor convention, and it was a really great trip out in Orlando with I think there was around 350 advisors there, so it was great. You know, got to hear some different companies talk about different products and investment tools and different planning softwares, all that. Some of you, maybe some of the boring stuff, but yeah, it was been a great week and really looking forward to getting back to the radio.
Well, I want to ask you some questions about all that in just a moment here, but let me tell everybody how to get in touch with you. That number is 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-PLAN. Call that number, leave your name and phone number, and you'll get a call back. And then you can arrange to have a one-on-one conversation with Logan Sadler, same guy you hear on the radio. Absolutely no charge for this and no obligation involved at all. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call. I'll give it to you a little bit later on during the show here, so I hope you will make plans to write it down and then go ahead and call right away. But procrastination is not your friend. Hey, Logan, I know that you were with a whole lot of advisors, and of course, a lot of these folks have been talking with people all over the country about getting to and through retirement. What were some of the main topics of conversation?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ron. There was a lot going on. I think a lot of advisors, a lot of the ones that I associate with out there around the world, a lot of them are really trying to focus more on the financial planning side of things. There's obviously some great products and some great tools out there, but really focusing more on planning. And so there's a lot of great planning softwares and things of that sort that really just kind of help further explain what it is we do for the clients and how it impacts their situation. So there's a lot of that going on, as well as there are also some pretty interesting investments going on out there right now. There's things that have been around a while, but they're just getting more and more adjusted to what clients might need or are facing, as far as problems and maybe fears with market volatility. There is a lot of new and exciting things out there that I definitely brought back some nuggets from, and think it's going to be really great for a lot of our clients to implement.
Well, I know that you talk to your folks all the time because you're constantly in touch and keeping them up to date on things. But what are some of the fears and concerns that some of your clients have been expressing to you lately?
Yeah, I think we could all agree. It's just been a very crazy world it feels like forever now, right? It's always kind of crazy to some extent.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest fear for a lot of people is some of the people that aren't as comfortable in the market. It's just becoming an increasingly higher fear for some. Again, I have some other clients where they're totally fine and we're good to go on that end, but there is some clients that where fears are rising, as well as taxes. So I think the best part about it is there's a lot of different tools that I've obviously been aware of and we've already utilized, but there's a lot more of them coming out and that are here where we could actually do a lot more tax planning, and as well as limiting or kind of reducing in some aspects volatility from the stock market. So that's just a great tool for us to have in our quiver, again, just to make sure that we're providing the best value we can to the clients that are coming on board and really finding a customized solution to make sure it fits their plan and their needs. So I'd say that's probably a lot what we're getting right now, Ron.
I know a lot of people may be listening to the show today who have worries of their own. They're worried about their portfolios and worried about the future and rising taxes and inflation. That's certainly a giant concern, and may have a few general questions they'd like to ask you. And I know that you would be happy to sit down with all of those folks at a discovery meeting, one-on-one, and talk about all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best part about the radio show. And I know a lot of you listening have called in and came in and sat down, and it really is great to really sit down and see how we could kind of number one on the discovery, I mean, just getting to know each other and trying to figure out what it is that is your fear or what are your concerns with your retirement plan, and how can we kind of find a solution and a fit to maybe eliminate that fear or reduce it in some cases. So yeah, it's been great, and really enjoy meeting with each and every one of you and just bringing the value that we can to your household.
If you'd like to arrange a get-together with Logan Sadler, and this is the guy you're going to talk to, same guy you hear on the radio show every week, Logan Sadler would be glad to sit down and talk with you at one of the convenient offices, either Hemet or Redlands, or maybe you might want to arrange a Zoom call, but in order to get that started, you need to call this number first, 888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-7526, but the easy way to remember it is by using the word PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. And you can sit down and have a conversation with Logan one-on-one, get more specific about your individual financial situation, and he can get much more specific with the things that he throws out, the advice that he gives you, the thoughts that he puts out there for you to think about. A lot of food for thought in these conversations, and again, there is absolutely no charge for this, and no obligation involved at all. One more time, that number is 888-823-PLAN. Logan Sadler is the Vice President and Chief Investment Officer at Regari Financial, a firm that's been around since, well, almost since the beginning of time. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a moment on the Financial Beat.
At the end of the day, no one truly understands your financial wants and desires better than you. That's why it's important to have financial independence. This means you can work when you want, you know exactly where your income is coming from, and most importantly, your finances are stable. If this sounds like something you want, well, text the word ADVICE to the number 21000, and Logan Sadler and his team at Regari Financial can provide you with their free guide on achieving financial independence. The free guide will show you how to create an action plan for getting to where you want to be. It'll explain how to calculate a financial independence goal, and it'll define what an ICE egg is and why it's so important. Download it now by texting the word ADVICE to the number 21000. Again, text the word ADVICE to the number 21000 to gain your financial independence today.
It's getting to know you time.
You're listening to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, Vice President, Chief Investment Officer at Regari Financial. My name is Ryan Stutz, and if you'd like to call Logan's office, it's 888-823-PLAN. 888-823-PLAN. Logan, just so folks can get to know you a little bit better, what's your favorite meal? Let's get down to basics here. What's your favorite meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
You know what? This is a crazy answer, but it depends on what day of the week it is. It really, it's funny. On weekends, I really enjoy going out to a really good lunch. Yeah. During the week, we're always kind of have a lot of work to do here for a lot of different reasons at our office. So I don't typically get a real great lunch every day.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, I really enjoy a good lunch where you can go out and have a nice, sandwich, pizza, something good. During the week, I don't eat a lot of breakfast. And like I said, I'm always kind of rushing with lunch. So I enjoy dinner more during the week. So I'm giving you two answers there. I'd say dinner and lunch.
Well, guess what? I agree with you 100%, everything you just said.
Well, there you go. That's awesome.
Works the same way at my house. Dinner is much more important.
It is. It's the biggest meal of the day for myself and always the one I look forward to probably the most.
All right. You're listening to The Financial Beat. Now you know Logan Sadler a little better. We'll be right back.
We talk a lot about creating a better 401k, but are we actually taking steps to do so? Maybe it's time to stop talking the talk and start walking the walk. By texting the word ADVICE to 21000, Logan Sadler can provide you with his 401k action steps, a guide that provides you with powerful information that could potentially save you thousands in taxes and fees and put you one step ahead when it comes to your retirement. So text the word ADVICE to the number 21000 today. For this special report, text the word ADVICE to the number 21000.
Do you ever find yourself skipping through countless songs trying to find the perfect one? Yeah, we've been there too, and know it can be frustrating. Much like skipping through the countless advertisements from other financial advisors, it can seem like there's so much misinformation. But here on the Financial Beat, you can rest assured we're providing you with the best information possible. So don't push skip on this show because we have some important information coming up.
Welcome back to the Financial Beat with the one and only Logan Sadler, VP and Chief Investment Officer at Regari Financial. My name is Ryan Stutz, and I consider myself to be a lucky guy because I get a chance to hang out with Logan once a week on this show. And Logan, I can't tell you how many things I've learned just by co-hosting this show with you. You are just an educational kind of guy.
Good, I appreciate it, and don't sell yourself short. You've also brought some value along with some great movie insight and music. So we appreciate it, and it's just great to be here and educating the listener. And I really enjoy stopping by each week for this radio show.
I bring all that up to point out that a lot of what Logan Sadler does is education. He loves educating people, loves sitting down and talking with folks, and always is plain spoken and doesn't try to talk over your head like a lot of people in the financial industry do, and makes everything so clear and so easy to understand. And the number to call if you'd like to have a discovery meeting, and that is kind of a getting to know you session with Logan Sadler, 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-PLAN. Write down that number if you haven't already, 888-823-PLAN. Now, you can call that number right now, leave your name and phone number, and you'll get a call back. And when you talk, you'll be talking with Logan Sadler when you have that discovery meeting. It's just that easy. Again, no cost and no obligation at all. Hey, Logan, I don't know how you feel about flying, but, I hate those long flights. If you're going somewhere very far away, you end up sitting on a plane for hours and hours, and it's just normally very uncomfortable.
I agree with you. I would rather almost drive anywhere rather than fly. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of having to deal with the airport and, having to go through the whole ticketing process and security and all that stuff. But
I agree.
I've got a fun fact for you that I read about earlier in the week. The shortest commercial flight in the world goes between two islands in Orkney, Scotland. You know how long it lasts?
How long?
About 53 seconds. From the time the plane leaves the ground to the time it touches down, 53 seconds.
You know what's crazy about that? There's two things that comes to mind. One is you got to get there 2 hours early, right, to check in for a 53-second flight. And the other thing is you could save thousands of dollars by building a bridge, right? And one of those things that would be huge. But that's crazy. 53 seconds. That's a pretty short flight there, so it's better than going cross country, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is if it takes 53 seconds to fly, it would take a lot longer if you're on a boat, and I guess that's why some people opt to fly. So I don't know. That's just kind of crazy to me.
That is crazy. That's a good one.
Can't wrap my head around that. Well, let's talk about financial feelings. A lot of people remember that old song a long time ago, Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. I hated that song. I had to play that song on the radio and just hated it every time it came up.
Gotcha.
But believe it or not, financial planning isn't all about math and logic. Certainly not. There are times when it's important to factor in how you feel about certain things. Mm-hmm. For example, how much do you care about where you live? That's something that you need to factor into any kind of a plan, right?
Yeah, you're right, actually. It's funny. I've had a lot of clients, and more recently, especially where we're based out here in California, it has become a tougher place for some to live, with just the rising costs. So we have had a lot of clients look elsewhere, and the nice part about us is obviously we're able to go with them to most of those states and be able to still be their advisor. But I think the biggest thing about that is it's funny because I had this one client who came in, and we were doing all this due diligent work. We have this really great financial plan laid out. We're talking about the numbers, and it was so funny because I could see they were thinking about something else. And I said, okay, so what else is on your mind after we've gotten this kind of laid out? They're like, what is the most cost-efficient place for me to live? And it was like that. Okay, let's touch on that. So they said, I will live anywhere you say that's the most affordable. And I was like, well, I mean, you got to look at some other things other than just financial, right? If I say Wyoming and you don't like snow, it's probably not a good place for you to live, right? So you really got to understand, what's your happy spot? Where will you get the most out of that retirement? Not necessarily just from a financial standpoint, but also from an emotional standpoint and a family aspect. You got to look at a lot of that, as well as community. I think I have a lot of clients that sometimes transition to some of those retirement senior communities, and some people say they're bad, some people say they're good, and I have definitely seen Some of our clients really enjoy those activities, and they get in there, they're golfing. They have a lot of people that are around their age and into their same interest, and it's been a huge benefit for their retirement. So that's another aspect of our job where we're sitting down ironing out not just taxes or investments or this and that, but really understanding what is it you want to do in retirement? How do you visualize it? But again, where do you visualize it at? Is it at this current home you're at? Do we need to downsize? There's a lot of different variations that go in than more than just financials. Understanding where you want to live and how you envision that lifestyle is very, very important.
Another thing that we've talked about a lot on this show is financial legacy. A lot of people, it is very important to leave a legacy and leave a lot to their family, that kind of thing, or charity or church or whatever the case may be. And you have to decide, I guess, if that kind of thing is important to you, and that has to factor into the plan as well.
Yeah, again, great point, Ron. I have a lot of clients where I'll joke with some of the kids I meet with that are their parents or clients of ours or this or that, and I'll tell them, you can't always be sure your parents are leaving you everything. I have plenty of clients, especially more of our higher net worth clients, where a lot of their money is going to their charities or to their church, or a lot of different variations where they feel that is where they want their money to go. They've worked so hard for it, and in some cases the kids are maybe already better off and don't need it, or maybe they don't trust them with that responsibility. So it's definitely something where looking at what you envision with your money. I always tell people, you come in, you have $1 million, $2 million. If something happened to you tomorrow, it's very, very important to understand where do you want that to go and what would be the tax implications and the ramifications of that legacy plan. And I think that's something where a lot of advisors don't touch on that enough, because yes, we're planning for a 20 or 30-year retirement, but if something did happen, how do you want this legacy to unfold? Where did you want the money to go? And there's so many more tax-efficient ways to structure investments to benefit the legacy plan you're trying to create. So it's just really important. And like you said in the beginning, Ron, you got to understand, you kind of got to make a choice on, are we trying to build some sort of legacy plan? And then if the further ahead we know that, the easier it is to kind of plan and put products in place or investments in place to make that happen. Or is it to spend all your money and enjoy it on you? I have some clients where that's their ideal retirement as well. So it's just very important. It's very important to understand what you want to do, how you want to do it, and get that plan together way ahead of time and decide, like you said, if it's important to you or not.
Yeah, some of the people out there want their last check to the undertaker to bounce, so.
You're not kidding. I have this one client where, I'm not lying, he was like, listen, I ran him all these different simulations and was able to do them at cash flow analysis. And I'm like, yeah, we're good till age 102, right?
Wow.
He's like, yeah, I want my last check to bounce. He's like, I don't want nothing against my kids. They're all great kids. He goes, but me and my wife want to enjoy every single penny we have, So there's definitely those people out there as well.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no.
It's all according to your personality and what your hopes and dreams are. But also something else that has a lot to do with personality is there's some folks out there who want to get into all the details and the nitty-gritty, so to speak, of their investments, and others who just want to keep it simple and they don't even want to think about it, right?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of my career is being able to work with people in so many different work environments, so many different backgrounds. We have clients that are, work for the electrical company, that work for their nurses or doctors or engineers. And it's funny because meeting with each of those types of people, they all have different interest in retirement planning. Some of them take more of an approach of wanting to know what investments we're purchasing or how this management style works. Some of them just want to know the basics of, am I going to be okay? Do I have enough money? And some people are just like, look, here's what I want, and here's how I need it to work. What can you do for me, right? How will this unfold? Is this reasonable, or am I being too over the top? So there's some people that have way different approaches about how they're going to kind of envision that retirement and how involved they'll be. I'll say from a personal standpoint, I'm very big on education, as Ron said many times already on the show. I really believe in telling clients exactly what it is they need to know, being very upfront and being very full disclosure as far as what we're doing. with that being said, I do have some clients, they don't want to know the beta or alpha of this individual portfolio, or they don't need to know, they don't want to know exactly which funds I'm buying and selling, or what investments we're using. They just want to understand the basis of the plan and know that they could trust our relationship and really know that they have a valuable partner with their family. And then again, I have those other clients where they're very involved. They want to know what we're doing, how we're doing it, and we really kind of cater to either one of those clients because there is a few different types of people out there. And again, Ron, none of them is right, none of them is wrong, but it is important to understand to some aspect what type of investments you have, what your plan looks like, and just kind of understand the basis of it to make sure you're on track.
Well, it's your money, and the bottom line is you're the boss, and it's like a lot of bosses in the workplace. Some want to be hands-on and involved in every little thing. Others hire good people, get out of the way, and let them do their job, right?
Great. That was a great point, Ron. That was great. I could have just shortened up my answer and said that. That's really a great analogy because it's true. I have some clients where they're like, look, you have the background in this. This is your profession. We've been with you for a long time. Or my parents have probably been with you, or this, that, and the other. And we really want to just kind of trust in you to guide us, and that's totally fine too.
Well, I want you to know that I come up with a good idea once in a while. Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
Yeah, that's great.
888-823-PLAN is your number to call if you'd like to get in touch with Logan Sadler. Have a one-on-one conversation. That is 888-823-PLAN. That is your financial beat number. Regari Financial would love to help you. Won't cost you anything to find out more. 888-823-PLAN. We're talking about feelings as they amount to what's happening in your portfolio and in your life. Do you feel better if you're completely debt-free, or are you comfortable with the idea of always carrying some debt? Again, people have different feelings about that.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most common ones that you would see out there. I mean, you watch these people on the TV, they tell you how great debt is if you're a real estate mogul and how you could leverage it to make money. And then you see other people out there like, Dave Ramsey, who preaches, if you have debt, you're bad, and you really want no debt to be financially free. It's very hard to kind of understand which one's the right way. The biggest thing I think a lot of people leave off the table is everybody kind of has their own comfortability with that. And I have some clients where, trust me, as a financial advisor, I could show several different clients. I could tell so many stories on this one, Ron, where I'll tell you, okay, you want to pay off your house with your brokerage account, for example. And I'll tell them, okay, your mortgage is 3%. This brokerage account over the last 20 years or 15 years or 10 years has averaged 6 or 7%. So even after that, that's essentially paying for your interest on your house, and you're being able to make money on your money.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, yeah, but it's still not paid off, right? They don't understand that mathematical impact. It's just the emotional impact of they would feel more comfortable if that house was paid off.
Yeah.
So there's certain clients out there where my job is to obviously tell you what I think is the best way and how it impacts your retirement in a positive or negative way. But obviously it comes down to comfortability. I have, again, so many clients where being debt-free just makes them feel better. They like paying cash for cars. They like having paid off homes. And I have other clients where they're okay with leveraging that debt if it makes sense. Okay, there's always good debt and bad debt. And so making sure you're leveraging it in the right way is sometimes a good example. But I think the biggest thing, like you were saying, Ron, is not one way is better than the other. It's just about making sure you understand who you are and making sure it's not going to hurt you is the biggest thing.
I just had another song pop into my head. I'm sorry for this.
Uh-oh.
It happens all the time. Dave Mason's song, We Just Disagree.
Yeah.
There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. It's only you and me, and we just disagree.
Yeah, exactly. And I always joke, and my job's not to ever get in an argument or anything like that. I'm just really just here to state what I think is the best way to go. At the end of the day, it's your money. But like you said, though, there's just some people where they feel better, they feel more comfortable either way. Not one's right or not one's wrong.
Let me just ask you about one more thing here when it comes to financial feelings. And we talk about this a lot on the show, and actually have to talk about it a lot, especially lately. How much does market volatility bother you? How comfortable are you when the market may be going up and down a little bit? How much does that stress you out?
Yeah, that's a very crucial one. I think so many people out there don't understand that there's other investments out there. There's ways to really diversify through planning. And there's more than just one way of just putting everything in the market and just hope it doesn't drop. And when it does drop, you panic and move to cash or you make those bad decisions that really, really impact the portfolio. I show clients, I have chart after chart where I could show people how just having a diversified approach and knowing your risk tolerance is so effective over the long run, rather than being maybe too aggressive or not really in a comfortable market portfolio for you. And the market drops and you make these bad decisions. It just so impacts your portfolio, especially over your longevity of your retirement. So I think there is a lot of people out there where the market volatility does bother you. And I think the biggest thing you need to do is meet with somebody like us and know that there's ways to structure a plan where there's things out there where we could diversify away from the market to some aspect and maybe leave some in the market. There's ways where you could really build that comprehensive plan with things like fixed index annuities. You have variable annuities, fixed annuities, you have structured notes, alternative investments. There's so many different ways to diversify away from just being in the market. And sometimes it's able to, I always like to kind of level out those peaks and valleys in your portfolio a little bit. And if it could help you sleep a little bit better or maybe be more confident in the plan long term, that's probably the best way to go. And I think the biggest thing out there is those people that are comfortable with the market, great. Make sure you're diversified, make sure you're comfortable with it. But if you are one of those people out there where you're getting ready to retire and you're seeing the market go up and down right now and you're wondering, am I going to be okay? Or I'm thinking about doing something crazy, give us a call. Let's sit down and we'll go over your risk and your portfolio and look at your plan. And if you don't have one, we're going to get a plan in place and see how the changes might impact that plan. And that's exactly what this radio show is for, is to obviously provide education and value for you listeners. But the ones that have prepared well for retirement, have a good retirement nest egg, and are looking to get a comprehensive plan together, that's exactly what that discovery meeting's for. So give us a call. I'd be happy to go over that.
888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-7526. But the easy way to remember it is by using the word plan, which is so important. And we've been talking about financial feelings. One thing we did not mention is it's never good to make important financial decisions when you're in an emotional state. And, it's always good to just calm down a little bit and make sure that you don't jump into something that you shouldn't jump into. Look before you leap, in other words. And Logan Sadler can help you settle down and think about things very logically so that you make the right decisions. Again, the number to call, Regari Financial, is 888-823-PLAN. Call that number today and you can arrange a discovery meeting. All you have to do today is leave your name and phone number. You'll get a call back from Regari Financial. Then you can make it happen. 888-823-PLAN. Logan Sadler is on the radio. Go tell everybody you know, and we'll be right back with more in just a moment.
Hi, I'm a cleverly devised personification of Wall Street. I'm one wild roller coaster ride away from wreaking havoc on your investments, and I love to mess with your emotions. If you're not properly diversified, you can bet I'll keep you up all night thinking about me. If you want to keep me off your mind, you really need a trusted advisor who'll look after your best interests. You also need a custom-designed financial plan that'll protect you from market volatility. Otherwise, when I take a plunge, I'll send you scrambling through your filing cabinet, hoping you were well prepared. Don't wait for turmoil to hit.
In Southern California, call Logan Sadler and the Regari Financial Team at 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-7526.
Did you know music is good for the heart? A study at a university in Italy showed that music helps promote a better cardiovascular system. But we also know that a sound financial plan is good for peace of mind. Keep listening to the Financial Beat so we can help you find a plan that both your head and your heart can agree on.
Welcome back to more of the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, Regari Financial, serving you in Southern California. And Logan, of course, is on the radio again today to talk about getting you to and through retirement. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call if you'd like a one-on-one conversation with Logan. Keep in mind that he works with all three generations of some of the client families, and many of those clients have been with the firm for more than 25 years. It's a well-rounded approach to your retirement and the kind of lifestyle you want in your retirement years. 888-823-PLAN is your number to call to get a one-on-one conversation going. Again, cost-free and obligation-free. Logan, I know that not only do you do this radio show, but you have a podcast, you're on YouTube. Tell folks how they can access all of that information that you put out on those on a regular basis.
Yeah, great lead there, Ron. So basically, what we have now is the Financial Beat YouTube channel. So for those of you that have been listening to the show for a long time and are really more interested in maybe visual content, we thought the YouTube channel would be a great chance for myself just to really maybe slow some things down and spend some more time on some certain topics and maybe give you more of a visual aspect of it. So yeah, we have the Financial Beat YouTube channel. It's officially launched. You can head over there, click subscribe. We got about 9 videos on there now where you can go over, check it out on a variety of different topics and at your convenience, as well as we have the Financial Beat podcast. So you can find us wherever you search podcast, Apple Music, Spotify, and feel free to check those out. Again, just trying to bring some valuable content out there to you guys, and we appreciate your support.
Well, let me just say, Logan, you look good on camera.
Hey, I appreciate it. You always worry as a radio guy, right? How am I going to look on camera?
Yeah. I, on the other hand, have the perfect face for radio, so I don't need to worry about that. So.
That's great.
I'm proud of you, though. Hey,
Thank you.
Did you see this crazy story about this financial advisor named Mario Salceda? Mario Salceda. He goes by the name of Super Mario, by the way. He's been living on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship for the last 23 years. Wow. Except for a forced 15-month hiatus because of COVID. He works about 5 hours a day on his laptop by the pool and spends the rest of his time smoking cigars and chatting with other cruisers. You ever heard anything that crazy?
You know, I haven't. That's one of those scenarios where it makes you feel like you're doing your job wrong, I guess. But definitely, I'm not in a cruise ship. I'm actually at the recording studio today. So yeah, that is crazy to think, though. 23 years. I love cruises, pre-pandemic, about as much as anybody. But man, 23 years on a cruise ship, that's some serious sea time and some serious commitment.
No kidding. It sounds like he has a lot of leisure time at his hands as well. And I think I would want to get off that ship once in a while and go do something else.
I agree with you on that. That's actually probably tougher than it sounds to be on that ship that long.
Yeah, I would think. Well, and you also got to have a lot of money in order to afford to do that, unless you're one of the owners of the cruise ship.
Cash flow is important, that's for sure.
Well, let's talk about the retirement garden. That's one thing he probably would have trouble doing, is planting a garden on a cruise ship. Yeah. But what does retirement planning have in common with growing a garden? First of all, I guess one thing that you have to consider is that if you've done any gardening in the past, and I'm not very good at it, but a lot of people spend a lot of time doing this, but one of the first lessons you learn is that plants don't grow overnight. If you're looking for immediate, tangible results, you may be waiting a while.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think most of us know, and I'm not a huge gardener myself. I do a lot of, actually very into grass, like my lawn. It's all about being green.
Yeah.
And so I do understand the basics of it. And I know, typical with the vegetable garden and things of that sort, you really want to make sure that you're planting those to make sure that they're going to grow. But the biggest thing we all know is they're not going to grow overnight. You're not going to have a vegetable garden in a week. It's something where it takes time. And I think that's a lot what happens in investments. I think so many people maybe think that they're behind in retirement planning or maybe don't understand certain concepts, and maybe they feel that they're so far behind that they could maybe get really aggressive and catch up and make money overnight. And that's just not the best way to do it. And it's typically, almost impossible to do in most cases. So it's really about, just like gardening, you want to develop a very thought out approach, make sure you're setting the table right, make sure you're allowing yourself to grow in the right way. And, typically over time is when things always pan out. I always say, if you're one of those people that come in and you're too far behind in retirement, maybe you're going to say, I don't have as much money put away as I'm going to need. Well, there's only a few ways to get there. And the first option is we probably need to put away more money, right? Not necessarily be more aggressive or jump out of our comfort zone and do something that we're not, what the bottom line is, we're not comfortable with that. It's probably putting away more money or restructuring the retirement plan or, cutting costs to make sure that we're going to be able to transition into retirement. So there's a lot of other things that go along with it. But the most important thing I always say is, my job is about really being reasonable and understanding what is out there. And I know from meeting with tons and tons of people throughout the years, it's very important to know that a good retirement plan, a good investment plan, a really good comprehensive long-term retirement plan doesn't happen overnight. It's something where you want to make sure you're doing the right things along the way, and those little incremental changes throughout that time frame make a huge difference in the long run, just like growing the garden.
Well, the bottom line is you need to plant the seeds and then do the right things to keep them growing, and then just be patient, because growing a garden doesn't happen right away. And the same thing goes with your retirement planning. You also have to keep the weeds and pests away, do some maintenance, in other words, and that's something that you are certainly well equipped to do.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can't, when you plant a garden or vegetables or grass, any of it, right? You can't have rabbits, squirrels, certain insects. You can't have them going through and ruining everything that it is you've tried to build. And a lot of the times, if you're one of those people that is into gardening, it's something where that could really slow down the process or kind of drag it out and make things more complicated. So you really want to make sure you're getting rid of the weeds and you're getting rid of all of that stuff that's going to slow down your growth. And that translates into retirement as well. I think the biggest thing is you look at, there's hidden fees. I mean, the hidden fees in portfolios can definitely be like the weeds of the garden, where it's really kind of it's kind of choking your investments out. It's really dragging the performance and really stunts the investment growth. And I think it's you need to really understand what you're in and how it works for you, but also what is the cost of that and what's the impact. And I think the other big thing is you got to look at the salespeople out there that are really pushing products and, not really relying more on planning. They're pushing more as far as just from a product standpoint. You really want to make sure you're looking at hidden fees, and also what is the impact on that plan and how does it really make an impact over the long run to get rid of all those weeds and all those things holding you down along the way, I think is the biggest takeaway from that.
You're listening to The Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, Regari Financial. Again, his phone number is 888-823-PLAN, 888-823-PLAN. Call that number today, leave your name and phone number, and you'll get a call back, and you get arranged to have a discovery meeting that won't cost you one penny. We're talking about gardening and how that relates to your retirement plan. And also, when you're gardening or when you're planning for your retirement lifestyle, whatever that may be, you need the right tool for the right task. And let me just say that Logan Sadler and the folks at Regari Financial have a huge toolbox, and they can help you pick the right ones.
Yeah, great point there, Ron. It's very important about, you can't build a whole house with just a hammer, right? You need to have more than just a hammer. And I think when you look at a lot of people out there when it comes to financial planning, they have a lot of things sometimes a lot of investments that don't necessarily make sense or might not be the right tool for the task. And I could say from personal meetings with clients where I've seen things out there where it just absolutely makes no sense at all. And my job first and foremost isn't to argue or call anybody crazy or anything like that. But when you're sitting back and looking at it, I had this one client, his name was Dave, and he came in and he had a pretty sizable retirement plan, had done very well. And, he came in and really wanted to dive more into the weeds as far as investment planning. He had always kind of thought that things didn't really make sense, or maybe he didn't have the right tools for what he was trying to do. And it was funny. We were sitting down. He had an IRA that was very high risk. He had a 401k, very high risk. And then he had a Roth IRA that was in a CD. Okay, so for some of you guys listening, you might not understand the shift there. But, in a Roth IRA, the whole point of the Roth IRA is you have already paid taxes on that money. So you want to make sure that money grows at a significant amount to get that tax-free benefit from it. So it was one of those things where it was like, well, I definitely think a CD might be a good spot for a portion of it. But at that point, the Roth made no sense to be in the CD. So it's something where just little tweaks like that really make a huge, huge difference in that retirement plan. And like I always say, it's not necessarily good or bad things. It's just about how the impact will affect you and that ideal retirement. So for those of you guys listening to the show, give us a call. Ron's going to give you the number here in a second. Come in, sit down, spend an hour with me, and I guarantee you'll walk away with some value and some insight to general retirement planning and how we can make a difference in your retirement plan.
888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-PLAN. That's your number to call for Regari Financial, serving you with convenient offices in Hemet and Redlands. But Logan Sadler, of course, would be glad to talk to you via Zoom, or maybe it's just a phone call to start. But first of all, you have to make your own phone call and make this happen. Leave your name and phone number. You'll get a call back, and then you can arrange it. 888-823-PLAN. That is 888-823-PLAN. Keep in mind also that Logan hosts educational seminars and webinars on estate planning, retirement income, taxes, and retirement at local universities and senior centers, as well as online. And of course, he talked earlier in the day about YouTube. And Logan has his own YouTube channel. You can go there and find out about a variety of topics, all related to your retirement. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the show. You're listening to the Financial Beat with the one and only Logan Sadler. One more time, that number is 888-823-PLAN. Your discovery meeting won't cost you a penny. We'll be right back.
Are you concerned about living too long? Do you worry about the cost of health care in the future? These are a few of the signs that permanent life insurance could be for you. Logan Sadler of Regari Financial will help you recognize the rest of the signs. Text the word advice to the number 21000 to download this free guide to understanding permanent life insurance. Text advice to 21000. Permanent life insurance isn't for everyone, but it could make a dramatic difference in your financial life. Text advice to 21000 to find out if that's the case.
You're listening to The Financial Beat, striking the right chords in your financial plan.
Welcome back to the Financial Beat with Logan Sadler, VP and Chief Investment Officer at Regari Financial, serving you in Southern California. Hope you're having a good day today. We appreciate the fact that you decided to tune in and listen to the show for a while here today. And a lot of folks listen to the show every week. If this is your first time, thank you very much for being with us and welcome to the Regari Financial family. But in order to cement that relationship, call this number, 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-PLAN. And you can leave your name and phone number. You'll get a call back, and then you can arrange to have a discovery meeting with Logan Sadler, same guy you hear on the radio. Now, this is not going to set you up for any kind of obligation. It's not going to cost you a penny, but you can get a discovery meeting, have an opening conversation one-on-one with Logan, and find out if you'd like to work together. It's just that simple. 888-823-PLAN. Doesn't matter if you're in Rancho Cucamonga, Loma Linda, Corona, Indio, Banning, Temecula, wherever you happen to be today. Thank you very much for being with us. One more time, that number is 888-823-PLAN. Hey, Logan, we always take a look at these crazy crimes that are on the books, and there are so many federal crimes in the books that just don't make any sense at all. And this one kind of does make sense, although it sounds like it's taking it really seriously. Every week we try and bring you one federal crime because we're always looking out for you. So, you ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm ready. Always excited.
It's a federal crime to hide first-class mail instead of second-class mail in order to get cheaper postage.
Well, I mean, this is one of the very few that I think kind of makes sense, right? It's something where it's not as crazy as it sounds like some of the other ones. But it reminds me of that quote. Not that I agree with it, but it's one of the, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So trying to get a little cheaper postage there, and that definitely makes sense, though. It's not as outrageous as some of the other ones.
Yeah, most of them are crazy. Like, it's illegal to send meatloaf in a package unless it's in a loaf form or something like that.
Yes.
Some of those things have been really dumb that we've talked about in the past, but that would make sense. So don't try and cheat the post office, in other words.
Yeah, they'll get you.
They sure will. Well, let's talk about the client relationship. And I know that's something that's very important to you. And we often talk about what it's like to become a client for new folks listening to the show who decide to make that all-important phone call. But today, let's talk about what it's like to be a client. When somebody has been a client for many years at Regari Financial, and they already have a solid retirement plan in place, what do your discussions look like when you get together for all those periodic reviews?
Yeah, this is a really great point to bring up. So I think that's one of the biggest things where a lot of advisors might not follow through is maybe on that review process. It's something where it's probably, I would say it's more important than the initial plan itself because a lot of different things change. And so how we start our discussion and that conversation during our reviews is we'll sit down and I always like to ask them, what's changed? Have you been divorced? Did you sell your house, lose a job, get a job? There's a lot of different things that could change in between reviews. The next is, how's life? How is life going? What challenges are you facing? What's great if you had babies or grandkids? There's really just kind of more of a personal notice. How is life going? Are we still on track to meet our goals? A lot of our clients were really setting, maybe we're putting away money in the 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and we're maybe paying down the house or whatever's going on. It's really a great time for the advisor to check in with you on a personal note and also on a goal note and say, okay, where are we at? How do I need to adjust our current plan for you? And are we still on track to meet those goals? And I think that's where a lot of the conversation is centered around. The other thing for some of our clients that maybe are transitioning or maybe getting really close to retirement, it's one of those things where, again, maybe we already have a really great plan in process, but it's never too late to check on how is our income plan looking? Are we still on track to meet that income goal next year when we retire, in 6 months when we retire, 5 years when we retire? The next is estate planning. Has anything changed in our estate plan, as far as grandkids or different things with our trust we need to implement and get with the attorney on, as well as tax planning. Tax planning is one of those things where we're always looking at that with our clients, where do we need to make changes? Is there a tax advantage investment or tax advantage strategy we could implement? So I think there's a lot of implementation going on at these discovery or at these review meetings, because it's so important. And I think a lot of people don't review enough with their advisor. It's very, very important to understand we know exactly what's going on and keeping the advisor up to date on what's going on in your life, even if it may sound silly to you as far as, I had a grandkid, my advisor doesn't need to know that, but yeah, it might make you want to make changes to that plan. So there's a lot of different variations that we ask our clients at those meetings because they're very, very important.
Well, if you meet with a financial person and that person puts together a plan for you, and then you never hear from them again, that's not a good thing. You got to have that regular relationship.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think that's one thing where with our clients, our reviews, it's very, very important. Like you were saying, Ron, I can't tell you. There's actually studies out there that show most people leave their financial advisor because of lack of communication, not because of returns. Yeah. Most people understand that returns vary based off investments, but relationships and making sure that the client's there or the advisor's there for you when you need them is what's important. And I think our review process, how that goes, Ron, is we actually meet. We like to have a call or a Zoom or even in person at least once a quarter if we can, if the clients are okay with that, and at least one annual sit down. So we like to have the client come in once a year minimum to the office, or if it has to be a Zoom, that's fine. And really just kind of lay everything out on the table and actually pull up their plan and kind of go through a checklist that we have of those questions I just said. What's changed? Are we still on track to meet the goals? Anything I need to know? And then kind of go over some more advanced strategy planning. But, making sure you're touching base with your clients is so, so important. And we treat every client, whether they're very high net worth or whether they're just getting things started, we're very, very on track with making sure we're touching base and making sure we're keeping on track with the plan. And that's, like I always say, it's probably as important or more important than the plan itself.
So you review each client's individual situation on a regular basis, and that is so important. What are some examples of ways that you've been able, Logan, to help your clients in ways that might actually fall outside of your normal variety of services?
Yeah, that's a really great point. And we always like to say at our office, most of our clients are, friends of friends or a lot of our clients have referred each other's friends or family or this or that, the other. So a lot of our client family is very, very close. And one thing we like to take very great honor in is a lot of our clients trust us and we have a great relationship. If a client can't talk to their advisor, or if you can't call them up and be able to bounce some ideas off them and really have a great rapport and great relationship, we feel that is so important for not only us, but for you guys too, to feel like you have that open line of communication and somebody that you could actually, have that rapport with, to understand that they care about you and making sure that they're doing what's in your best interest. After we've established that trust and that rapport with our clients, again, some of them feel that way instantly. Some of them, it takes them a year or so to feel that comfortability. after we've established that, one of the biggest value adds we add to our clients is we've been around a long time. So we have tons of CPAs, we have tons of attorneys and divorce attorneys, estate planning attorneys, as well as Medicare, a mortgage lender, reverse mortgages. I mean, we have car sales experts we work with. I mean, so there's a variety of different services that we actually will be there to link our clients up if they need somebody else in a different industry that they could trust to help maybe implement the other parts of the retirement plan that are very crucial. We're there as far as every step of the way with our clients. If I don't know somebody, we'll find somebody. And so it's very important to know, as the advisor, we really like to be the kind of connector of everything to make sure that we're there and seeing how these implications can maybe impact the investment and retirement plan.
Now you've caused another song to start playing in my head. Billy Joel, A Matter of Trust.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
You're on it today.
Yeah, I know. I can't help it. It's a sickness and it's a curse. What are some memorable victories or happy occasions that you've been able to celebrate with your clients over the years? And think about that for just a second, and let me put your phone number out there while you're thinking about it. 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-PLAN. Logan, what are some of those special occasions?
I tell you what, we actually, this has nothing to do with financials at all. It's just actually a really great memory of a client. He has since passed, but he was with us for, about 12 years or so. And he was actually a survivor of Pearl Harbor. Oh, wow. And, it was one of those things where obviously getting to meet him and talk to him, and he was in his late 90s, but still was a very, very sound mind. And he was somebody that was just you looked up to, I guess. You honored him, and he was in Pearl Harbor when he was, I want to say he was like 17 or 18 when that had happened. Yeah. And he was in one of the ships that obviously didn't go down or anything like that, but it was so cool. We were actually able to set up with our local veterans group. They actually came to one of our client events that we have. We have a lot of client events where we'll just kind of Christmas parties or biannual parties where, again, we just kind of touch base with clients on a personal note. The veteran group was actually able to come out and kind of honor him in front of everybody. Wow. And it was really cool. A lot of our clients are veterans as well. And so it was one of those things where it was really awesome to experience. And he was so grateful that all we did was make a call or two, and then the veterans group obviously took care of the rest. But it was so cool to where he just felt very appreciated by us and the rest of the clients there. And it was one of those moments that I'll always remember. It was very great.
Boy, those are special times, just once-in-a-lifetime memories there, that's for sure. And I'm glad you have that kind of relationship with your clients. And, salute to him for his service to the country.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Describe a time, if you would, when something in life happened to drastically change a client's financial situation for the worse. How were you able to help?
Yeah, we have one of my favorite clients we have has been with us for quite a while. And it's funny, his parents were actually clients of ours. And he came in he was probably 55 years old when he came in, and he came in with his parents and just had said, "Hey, I have a retirement. I'd be interested in maybe getting a plan together." And it was like, "Yeah, no problem. Come on in." And he was at the age where he had no other assets or anything else at that point we could really manage or do anything with, but we're obviously more into the planning aspect. So it was like, perfect. Come in, bring your statements. We'll kind of take a deep dive and look at what your retirement might look like in a few years. And he was actually getting ready to say he wanted to retire at, 62, 65, a normal age. Well, unfortunately, he worked for a large utility company, and they actually had a huge layoff. And this is quite a few years back when things were a little tougher in that industry. And anyway, he came in at 55. We met with him. Everything went well, and he was like, "All right, I'm on track. I'll keep in touch." And we have a review process with those type of clients that we do meet with. And he came back in 1 year later, had a huge layoff, and his life was just kind of turned upside down. Had been with the company over 30 years, and it was something where it was like, man, this is a huge, huge change, and obviously a bad predicament to be in. We were able to restructure some of the planning we had done. He had around 1.2 million saved up for retirement, had done very well, lived a very modest life, and we were actually able to implement some strategies through some advanced strategies to get him able to actually fully retire. And so it was one of those things where we were able to turn that really bad situation of him having to lose his job of where he had been for so long into a situation where him and his wife were actually able to pull the plug and fully retire and still live a pretty decent life compared to what they wanted to, even with working a few more years. So it was a really great, again, another honorable moment where it was just awesome to be able to turn a bad into a good. Again, it doesn't always happen that way, but it's really great when you get a win in that category.
That really gives you a lot of personal satisfaction when you're able to help somebody like that, doesn't it?
You know what, it does, and probably one of the key elements of my job is being able to do things like that and be able to bring value to clients. Again, not every client decides to come on board, or I talk to a lot of people that might not be a client. It's just great to provide that value. But like you said, to the clients that have been with us and have been loyal to us, and to be able to provide that value and that win in that column to make them obviously turn that negative impact into a positive impact, that's why we do this job, and we really enjoy doing it. Those of you guys listen to the show for a while obviously know we're very passionate about it, and really appreciate each and every one of you for listening to the show. And those of you that became clients, we appreciate your business. And it's really, just like you said, Ron, really great to get a win in that column.
If you'd like to have a conversation with Logan Sadler about your situation, call this number, 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-PLAN. Call that number today and leave your name and phone number. You'll get a call back from Regari Financial as soon as possible, and then you can arrange to have that one-on-one discovery meeting with Logan Sadler. He's not going to put you off on anybody else. Same guy you hear on the show every single week. And Logan would be happy to sit down and talk with you. It's not going to cost you one penny and not going to carry with it any kind of obligation. 888-823-PLAN. That's 888-823-PLAN. Hey, we appreciate your listening to the Financial Beat today. And once again, reminder, you can find out more about what Logan does, what Regari Financial is all about, by going to YouTube and search for the Regari Financial YouTube channel, and you can find all kinds of educational videos there. And I think Logan just enjoys educating folks. And Logan, you've educated me today as well. It's been nice hanging out with you.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. Like Ron said, guys, head over to the Financial Beat YouTube channel. Check out some of the new videos. We're actually updating that each week. There's going to be new content on there. Again, some of them are client questions or different topics, and we appreciate your guys' support on that end. And I really look forward to next week. Another show on the books and getting ready for next week already, Ron.
And one more time, that number is 888-823-PLAN. Logan Sadler, Regari Financial. Logan, have a great week.
You too.
The information provided is for educational purposes only and is not intended as investment advice for anyone. All information discussed is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. The views presented today are those of BD Financial Group and do not necessarily represent the views of Alpha Star Capital Management, LLC. The opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and do not constitute financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult with your financial professional before executing any financial strategy. Investment advisory and financial planning services are offered through Alpha Star Capital Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Alpha Star and BD Financial Group are independent entities. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability.